largest being a 4.6, which happened in and around Rio Dell. And it appears that Rio Dell has probably sustained, some of the hardest hit areas, but there's still assessment going on in Ferndale, which is also close to the epicenter. And we do know that there were some water main breaks and other kinds of things in the town of Fortuna. Throughout that process, there was a notice issued by the National Tsunami Information Center based in Alaska, the Warning Center in Palmer, Alaska, advising that there was no threat of a tsunami because the earthquake was offshore. And so it's important to note that, and so we don't expect that to be the case. That's kind of where things are at right now. The State Operations Center on this end will continue to be operational through tonight into tomorrow, or as long as it takes to ensure that all of the resources that are being applied are being done so, and that we help the folks up there navigate through this particular situation. We know that with the aftershocks, individuals will maybe feel a little uncomfortable about being back in your home. Your home is livable if you can get in. You understand, just like anything, if you feel like there's the earthquake happening again, an aftershock, drop, cover, and hold. Find a safe spot in your home to get to. Please remove all that non-structural stuff, or bolt it to the wall, or secure it in some form or fashion so that it's not above you should something fall over. So you want to make your home as safe as possible through this period of time. And of course, if you have any emergencies or need any assistance, to call local authorities to be able to provide that assistance to you. The responders up there are pretty busy, so make sure that if you need them, it's something that you need them for when you call them. But this is a one team, one fight effort. Local, state folks all working together to be able to help out the community there. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tony Traveris, who is with the California Department of Transportation, Caltrans, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the work and assessments that we've seen with regards to the bridges and roads.
Thank you, Director Ghilardici. I'm Tony Tavares. I'm the Director for the California Department of Transportation, Caltrans. And I'd like to just mention a little bit about the infrastructure, the state highway system up there in the Humboldt County area. We have dispersed a almost dozen-person strike team to go out, inspect all the bridges, the major structures, and the roadways throughout Humboldt County. We have bridge engineers, we have specialized engineers, and bridge inspectors that are helping us with this work. So far, we've identified one bridge, the Fern Bridge, which is on State Route 211, connects Ferndale to US 101, which has suffered some damage. With that bridge, we have traffic closed at this time on that bridge. We are allowing emergency vehicles to pass across that bridge through traffic control. I also want to mention that I've issued a $6 million emergency director's order to the District 1 director in that area to bring a contractor on board as quickly as possible. We have selected Myers & Sons to be that contractor. They are currently mobilizing their equipment and their resources and personnel to actually be on site by later today and begin the reconstruction work on that bridge. Most likely, just my thoughts going forward, most likely we will shore that bridge and get it ready and open to public traffic, and then commence with the final repairs of the bridge. Also want to mention we are working very closely with regional and local authorities up there on the inspection of their facilities as well. This is a one-team effort, as Director Ghilardici mentioned, and all of us here, these state agencies, are working very closely with our local partners in the Humboldt County area. One last item I'd like to mention as well is that Caltrans has various facilities in the area. We are making those facilities open to bring in resources to assist with any of the needs of Humboldt County. So we're working very closely with these state agencies to bring in commodities and other items that may be needed for the people of Humboldt County. So With that, that concludes my comments. I'd like to turn it over to Cindy Pridmore of the California Geological Survey.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Pridmore with the California Geological Survey, Department of Conservation, and I'm also chair of the California Earthquake Clearinghouse, which was last activated for the 2019 earthquake, which was also a 6.4 and a 7.1. Today's earthquake was about about 2 miles offshore. It was about 15 miles southwest of Ferndale. The earthquake was probably on what's called the Gorda Plate. It's a complex area offshore where we have the Pacific Plate, the North American Plate, which we're on here, and some small pieces of other plates as well. The area over the last century has had about 40 earthquakes that are magnitude 6 to 7. So it's not unusual for us to have these earthquakes of this size in this region. We had, as Director Ghilarducci said, we had about 80 aftershocks. There were 3 of them, magnitude 4.6, 4.0, and 3.9, which were the largest at this point. We have sent some scientists out in the field from the California Geological Survey, and likely there are other scientists out there as well as engineers starting to get a reconnaissance feel of what kind of damage and features are out there, and we will be sending more people out there if needed to document the characteristics of this earthquake. Part of what the clearinghouse does is help sort out and connect people who are doing that research and make sure that we have a platform to provide that information out to others. It's a key part of providing intelligence after an event to the State Operations Center. As also mentioned, there was no tsunami. The plate motion, or the fault motion for this was a side-by-side motion, so there was no possibility of lifting up and even causing a small tsunami. I think that's about it. The USGS has also put out, this is very helpful, what they call an earthquake forecast, aftershock forecast. This will be changing by the hour, but when I last looked at it, there is approximately a 13% chance within the next week of a magnitude 5 or larger. So, people do need to be prepared, especially if they're in weakened structures, to be mindful of where they're staying. And just to be prepared, get that water, make sure they have flashlights and electrical, other support things that they need to carry on if there's another earthquake. Thank you. Next speaker is Troy with Highway Patrol.
Thanks. Good morning. I'm Troy Lucas with the California Highway Patrol. During earthquakes like this, the California Highway Patrol's primary mission is to ensure and maintain public safety, and if needed, to help out with any evacuation efforts. Also to necessitate the safe movement of community members, goods, and emergency supplies. As soon as this incident occurred, like it's been stated, around 2:34 a.m. this morning, CHP officers from the Humboldt area, our Garberville area, as well as Crescent City began conducting damage assessments throughout their respective communities. The majority of the damage of this incident was noted near the Humboldt County. We're currently working right now with law enforcement and public safety partners to include Cal OES, Caltrans, Humboldt County Sheriff Department, Cal Fire, to mitigate the emergency as quickly as we can continue to do. The CHP right now, as we currently speak, we only have 12 uniform members fully dedicated to the incident at this point. The CHP's supporting Caltrans right now at a closure at Fern Bridge, which is State Route 211, which is still currently closed, as already previously mentioned. And the CHP will continue to provide dedicated personnel until this incident is mitigated. At this point, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Thanks, Commissioner. Just a closing, so we've continued to keep Governor Newsom briefed on the response and all of the different aspects and strategies that were taking place. And I think it's really important to reiterate something both the Commissioner said and Cindy said, and that is really this issue of having a plan. We live in earthquake country. This is another example of the fact that earthquakes can occur at any time without notice. And so it's really important that we as Californians have a plan, have a family plan. We have some supplies. In case we lose power, like they have done there, or in case we have to, we can't have our refrigerators don't work, or whatever the case, we've got some supplies that we can take care of ourselves or our family for a few days. And of course, we've seen now on numerous occasions that the earthquake early warning system is a very valuable tool. So we really encourage you to download, if you haven't, the MyShake app and get that. It comes as part of the Android phones, but if you don't have an Android phone, download that app. It's free, and it's something that you can have and be able to, have another tool in the toolbox to make your family as safe as possible. So with that, I've heard from the team here. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Hi, I'm Sophie with the Associated Press. Can you tell me if we have a sense of how many people could be temporarily displaced because of this, displaced from their homes, and how many people could be without water or gas?
So right now, as part of the damage assessment that's underway, is to get a better sense of exactly the number of homes that have been damaged enough that people cannot go back in and reside in those homes. And we know that there is at least one structure fire, and we also know that there were a couple of homes that may have been knocked off their foundation or partially collapsed. So we're going through this damage assessment to get a sense of that as we speak now. And then with regards to water, part of that damage assessment is to make an assessment of how much of the water delivery system in the towns I mentioned, Rio Dell, Fortuna, and Ferndale, have been impacted in a way. Can those water systems be patched? And in the interim, I mentioned earlier that we are pre-positioning commodities such as water and other kinds of things to be able to support the community if necessary. So if we need to get water to people based upon the outcomes of this assessment, we can make sure that people have the water they need for as long as they need it. Some of these things that where you get large breaks in the system do take a while to replace, and that is a priority of some of the things that we work with local government on, is ensuring that all the resources are there for local government to be able to get those lifelines patched as soon as possible. We know that the sooner that the water power and electric, water power and gas service comes back online, the rest of it can be pretty smooth. So that's really going to be one of the larger efforts in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Hi, Monica de Anda with Fox 40. This may be hard to answer, but I'm just gonna ask anyways. Is there any timetable, or given previous earthquakes that we've had in that area, of how long it could take for power to be restored? There's 70,000 people without power. It's a big chunk.
So no, it's a great question, and I have to say, we've been really working hard to make sure that PG&E has all the pathways. The CHP has been great in being able to make sure that they have access and into areas that they need to. They have moved a whole bunch of resources into that area, not only their local units, but they've moved in mutual aid to be able to support them. They've already restored some power this morning, so I know they're on a trajectory. The question is there was some transmission line that was impacted, and so they tripped off, and some of it is when they hook it back up again, they also have to make sure that the line is safe, that there's no impact in gas, and in that coordination between the gas returning on the pilot light and the gas and the electrical all has to be done. So that probably will take, they're working on it hard. Hopefully they can get it all done by today, but more than likely your question is how long does it typically take? This size earthquake in this area, probably a day or two before it's all gets fully restored.
Anything else? And how isolated is Ferndale with the bridge being out? Is that the only road in?
Commissioner, you want to talk about that? Oh, Caltrans. Oh, yeah, Director. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, no, excellent question. So Ferndale is not isolated. US 101 runs right next to it, so they have access through US 101. There are some local roads in the area that I'm receiving reports that may be damaged. We are working closely with those local authorities there to see how quickly we could help them repair those roadways as well.
So what happened to the transmission line? What happened there?
Well, the reports we had earlier was that one of the transmission lines, the shaking may have caused what they call a trip in the circuits that are on the line that may have shut the system down. I don't have the specifics exactly what happened, but it's not uncommon that these circuits get tripped in an earthquake, which is really something that prevents arcing and it prevents the power from causing fires and other kinds of things. So they have to go in and make sure that the lines are back operational again and secure, and that they can move the power through in a safe environment.
Hi, Mike with the Sacramento Bee. You mentioned some weather changes coming up. Supposed to be, rainy, cold, potentially foggy. You mentioned how that may impact people who are displaced, but does that present any challenges to the damage assessment or to the response having winter weather up there?
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now, we don't anticipate it slowing us down and doing the damage assessment, but the weathers that's coming in is what I would call, it's winter weather, but it should be manageable for us. There are certain things that we may not use in this case, like aerial flights or other kinds of things that do damage assessment. It'll be more on the ground and house to house kind of thing, but we don't anticipate that to be a problem at this point.
All right, thanks everyone.
All right, thank you all very much.